Hello and welcome back to Cooking with Chef Dama. Guys, I'm gonna take you on a trip to the South, the American South this time. Now I'm gonna make delicious southern fried chicken. You know, the nice, crispy, crunchy sort, but soft and succulent, slightly tangy on the inside. The twist, my special blend of spices. I'm gonna show you a secret blend, and a lot of those spices come from the Indian kitchen cabinet. So today it's southern fried chicken with an Indian spice rub. Without any further ado, my friends, let's cook! Now there are several steps to follow when making fried chicken. First and the most important, the marinate. So let's start with the marinade. I've got 4 pieces of chicken thigh, bone in and skin on. Give it a good hit of salt on both sides and then cover it with buttermilk. Here I'm using Bulgarian cultured buttermilk. You could use any. Cover the chicken in buttermilk. Make sure all the pieces are properly coated. Cover and allow to marinate in the fridge for about 6 hours. Overnight is better. And it's as simple as that. Buttermilk and salt. The buttermilk has got these enzymes that's going to work on the chicken and just make it tender and give it that nice tangy, juicy flavor. And that's all we're really looking for. Because the punch is going to come from the spice rub. And that is going to be done next. We're going to make our super fragrant spice rub using our spices from the Indian kitchen cabinet. We start with fennel seeds, coriander seeds, cloves, mustard seeds, cumin seeds, cardamom pods, cinnamon sticks, and kasuri methi. You can get kasuri methi at an Indian store in a box that looks like that. Put these in a cast iron pan on a stove and on medium heat. We give it a toast till the spices start to give out its aroma. We transfer this to the bowl till it's cool to the touch. To make sure that we get this perfect fine powder, we're gonna have to let the spices cool down before it goes in the grinder. That is important. Make sure you dry your spice grinder with a paper towel. Moisture in this piece of equipment will make your spice rub very clumpy. Take it for a spin and grind till you get a nice fine powder. Oh, the aromas are outstanding. Transfer to a bowl and cover till we are ready to use. Our spice rub is ready and it smells fantastic. And the chicken has been sitting in the fridge, marinating in buttermilk and salt for about 8 hours. It is now time to move on to the next step, and that is dredging the chicken in flour. Drain the chicken and discard the buttermilk and lay the chicken out on a platter and give it a really good hit with the spice rub. Make sure you get both sides. And then we dredge the chicken. I like using flour in a little plastic bag. I put a piece of chicken in the bag and give it a really good shake. And this ensures that every part of that chicken bit is covered, properly dredged in flour. And now it's time to fry the chicken. Now, when doing fried chicken, you can go deep frying or shallow frying. I'm gonna go shallow frying, and that's because by shallow frying you get a nice crust and you also get that brown caramelization, which I prefer. Also, when you shallow fry, the steam that's built up in the chicken is allowed to escape, and that helps the coating adhere to the chicken. If you deep fry it, there's nowhere for the steam to go, and as a result it bloats up like a balloon, and then when you bite into it, there's no crust that's adhering to the chicken. But in this case, it's going to coat and it's going to stick really well. Now, options for frying. When it comes to frying chicken or anything for that matter, there's nothing better than a good, heavy cast iron pan. Believe me, it's inexpensive. Go out and get one because nothing fries like good old American cast iron. So, we're now ready. Let's take this to the stove and let's get frying some chicken. Heat oil in your cast iron pan till it reaches anywhere from 325 to 350 degrees. And then put your chicken in the pan skin side down and fry for about 8 minutes per side. And now I am going to make the perfect accompaniment to fried chicken, and that is grits. I love the creamy texture of grits. You start with 1 1/4 cup of cornmeal in which you mix a cup of water. In a saucepan, heat up 2 1/2 cups of stock. I don't have stock, I'm using bouillon cubes. You can use either. Season with salt and bring it to a boil. And then slowly add the cornmeal slurry to the hot water. By mixing the cornmeal and water, you avoid the clumping that takes place if you add dry cornmeal to hot water. Give it a good whisking till it starts to thicken up like a porridge. And now for some finishing touches. I like to add about a cup of Bulgarian cultured buttermilk, or any buttermilk for that matter. It gives it that nice sour tang to it. And to give it a little creamy edge, a little bit of half and half, a splash. And that will just give it a nice, fine, smooth edge. Mix it up well, your grits are done. And it's time to check on the chicken. The internal thermometer tells me it's 160 plus. That's just perfect. It's time to come off the flame. We've been cooking it for about 18 minutes. That's about 9 minutes per side. When the chicken is done frying, you don't want to bite into it right away. For one, you're going to get blisters on your tongue. And for two, you want to let it rest, and so let all the juices come back together. Believe me, patience will be rewarded. Now, don't make the mistake of drying the chicken in a brown paper bag or in a paper towel. Just let it dry on a rack. This little rack, or a cookie rack, that'll work perfectly. And if you're doing a big batch of chicken, your oven rack does a fine job of doing exactly the same thing. But you gotta let it sit on a rack and let the air around it circulate, and let the juices that are going crazy because of all the hot frying, let it get back to the center and make it nice and juicy. Now here's a little tip. While your chicken is still warm and it's kind of cooling down, give it a little sprinkle of chaat masala. Chaat masala, you can get this in your local Indian store. It's kind of hard to make, so I usually go with what's proprietary. And a little sprinkle, not a whole lot, will add a wonderful acidic edge to that chicken. It will taste fantastic. So right when it comes out of the pan, a little sprinkle is all you need. Flavor monumental. And now it's time to plate up. First, I'm going to make a bed with the creamy, delicious, tangy buttermilk grits, and then layer the chicken pieces on top of that. On the side, a little bit of hot sauce and a sprinkling of chopped cilantro. Look at that. As simple as that. Fried chicken right in your own home. The good old taste of the American South with a nice kick in the pants from a good Indian spice blend. You know, I know you're gonna try this recipe, because how can you resist? This fried chicken is amazing and you're gonna love it. Try the spice blend. You will not regret it. This is Chef Dama signing out, wishing one and all happy eating.